Okay, welcome folks. This is the crib to test one. The first thing is, each mark is supposed to be a millimeter in length. So this one, which is 10 or 1 centimeter in length. To do this, the first part correctly, note that there's 3 centimeters. The marking is between the 2 and the 3 millimeter mark. And then the key is to make that estimation of where it is between the 3 and the 2, because it's not on the 2 and it's not on the 3, so it's somewhere between it. 3.25 is reasonable. If it was directly on 3, then we would, on the 2, you would say it's 3.20. But you always want to have that estimation point so that you report 3 significant figures. We want the most amount of significant figures we can reliably report. When we're measuring sun, it's always to that estimation point. This problem, we are turning Kelvin into Fahrenheit. First step, Kelvin minus 273 gives us Celsius. So 5778 minus 273 gives us 5505. The next equation, Celsius times 9/5 plus 32 equals Fahrenheit. So you're going to have 5505 times 9/5. All that, we add 32 onto that. So 5505 times 9 plus 32. 9941. Now, protons, neutrons, electrons. You need the periodic table to help you on this? No, actually, no. The bottom number is the proton count in both these atoms. The top number is the sum of the protons and the neutrons. So arsenic is made out of 33 protons and 41 neutrons, because 41 plus 33 is 74. Zinc would be made out of 35 neutrons. Now, if it's neutral, so charge 0, we're assuming the number of protons and the number of electrons are the same. But if it's charged, the charge is equal to the protons minus the electrons. So if it's plus 2, it must have 28 electrons. 28 electrons. Okay. Electrons. With that in mind, get on up. Number 4 and number 5. Which of these properties are not present in all metals? All metals should have a pretty high boiling point. Now, mercury has a low melting point, but most of them don't boil very easily. They all conduct heat very well, and they all conduct electricity very well, but they're not all magnetic. So the correct answer is D. Some are magnetic. Iron is very strongly magnetic, but some are not. So not all metals are magnetic. How many atoms of phosphorus are in 35 moles? So 35 moles of P4O10. O10, we have the moles. We're going to convert moles into molecules. Well, in 1 mole, it's Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23 molecules. But if you got this one wrong, probably what's the one thing you forgot is that P4, in 1 molecule, there is going to be 4 atoms. 4 atoms of phosphorus. So 35 times 602 to the 10 to the 23rd times 4 gets you 8.42 times 10 to the 25th. So B. Okay, right along. Moving right along. 6, based on the weight and the displaced volume, what is the density of the unknown solid, and what is this? What is it made up of? Density is mass over volume. So this one's pretty straightforward. 3507 divided by 3.91. 3507 divided by 3.91 gives us 8.96, which is copper. Charge of these following elements. Calcium is group 2, so +2. Boron is group 3A, so +3. Nitrogen is group 5A, so VA. So it could be +5, but the more common one is you either want to get to 0 or 8. It's closer to 8 than it is to 0. So it'd rather be -3. Selenium is group 6A, so it would rather be -2. Okay, turn the following compounds from respective chemical formulas into names. So one thing to note, manganese peroxide, what the Mn is manganese, Mg is magnesium. So manganese 4 plus, O2 minus, the simplest ratio of the two would be MnO2. Sulfur trioxide, so SO3. Hydrochloric acid. Hydro means it's just H and Cl instead of HClO something. And here, sodium dihydrogen, so 2 hydrogens, phosphate means PO4. So NaH2PO4. I know there's one Na and and 2 H2s because phosphate is typically 3-. When J.J. Thomson experimented with cathode rays, he found that they could be affected by external electrical field and external magnetic field. So both. So he used those 2 fields to deflect and then reflect the cathode rays back into the original spot. And by using those 2 opposing fields, he could measure the charge to mass ratio of the cathode rays. What is the molecular formula of aluminum bromide? Well, aluminum is group 3A. So that means 3 plus. Bromine is group 7A. So 1 minus. What is the simplest combination of the 2? 3 for bromine, 1 for aluminum. So Al Br3. Correct answer is A. Based on the weighted average molar mass of chlorine 35.45, what can be said about the abundance? So weighted average means the actual weight is dependent on how much of each isotope. Between 35 and 37, which is it closer to? Well, 35.25 is closer to 35 than it is to 37, meaning A is correct. 35 is more abundant. If they were equally abundant, your molar mass would be like 36. So in the Back to the Future movie, the DeLorean must achieve 88 miles an hour to travel through time. How fast would that be in meters per second? So 88 miles in an hour. So we're going to turn hours to seconds. So 1 hour, there is 60 minutes. And 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. And we're going to turn miles into kilometers. 1 mile is 1.609, I think, kilometers. And then 1 kilometer, in our room here, 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. I do that. I'm just converting miles into meters. I've given all the useful information you need on the useful information sheet. So I don't expect you to know any of those. You do that, that's on like 39 meters a second. Not the fastest in the world, but that's fast. Which statement is false? That is a hard one, but I also gave this on the practice test. So a theory that has been proven true can become a law. There it is, right there. A hypothesis been thoroughly tested and supported can become a theory. That's true. Observation is always seen to be true is the law. That's what a law is. And hypotheses and theories provide explanations for the laws. Yeah, that's true. That's what they serve to try to do. Explain why this happens. Almost done. Number of moles in 652 grams of calcium sulfate. So 652 grams. You have to look up the molar mass of calcium, which is 40, sulfur, which is 32, and oxygen, which is 16. There's 3 oxygens. So that's 48 plus 32 plus 40. It's about approximately 120 grams in 1 mole. How many moles? 652 grams. It's about 5.43. So A. What percent is the mass of oxygen in this? Well, magnesium is 24. Oxygen is 16. There's 2 of them. And hydrogen is 1. There's 2 of them. 24 plus 32 plus 2. So 58 is the total mass. 32 is the mass of oxygen. So we're looking at mass of oxygen over total mass. Mass times 100. 32 divided by 58 times 100 is 55%, about 54%. So D, double checking my math. Okay, last 2 problems. What is the name of the following compound? So metal, it's group 1, so it's just sodium. No need for a charge. NO3 is nitrate. Nitrate. Group 2, so we don't need a charge, so it's just barium. OH is hydroxide. Hydroxide. This one, well, it's kind of a weird one. You can count that as a non-metal or metal. You can, so typically we call that boron trifluoride. Keep on doing that, fluoride. And this one is definitely 2 nonmetals. If we name it based on how we've learned it, we should call this dinitrogen monoxide. Mono meaning 1, monoxide. Yeah, sure. you get from the doctor's office, it's nitrous oxide, but we name it dinitrogen monoxide. So I did not count nitrous oxide correct. Finally, what is the group 8A or 18 on the periodic table? That is the noble gases. That's noble like BLE, not Nobel like the Nobel Peace Prize. Noble gas. So that was our test.